Have you ever considered why boredom could actually be good for you? Hello friends, and welcome to The Beautiful Mess, where we talk about tools and tactics to improve your life. I'm your host, Paul Dittus, a creative director, and super excited to have you on this episode. So basically this is episode number 38, and I hope you get bored at some point, because we're going to be talking about why boredom is actually good for you and the interesting studies that they've done. I have to thank veritasium. I think that's how you say it. It's a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out already, it's super fascinating, bunch of interesting topics. So if you're looking for something to do, I highly recommend checking out veritasium. Some very good content there. So they have a YouTube video titled "Why Boredom is Good for You," and I thought it was super fascinating. My dad sent it to me, and I was listening to it, and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty fascinating." Who knew that boredom could actually be something that would be good for you? So we'll talk about that, but then also talk about how busy could just be an excuse for not defining how you want to live your life. So stay tuned for that. So we're going to start off how the video starts off and talk about how they did a study that showed basically people that were put in a room and told to do nothing, but they had this button that they could press that would shock them. They basically found that people, instead of just being bored and doing nothing, actually preferred to get the shock, to feel something. And if that's any indicator how things are, and a lot of the people going into it said that they wouldn't, they'd rather be paid money than to get shocked, or they'd rather pay money than to get shocked, or something like that. But it was so fascinating. It just shows you how bored you can get, because all of a sudden you realize that it's better to push a button than just be with your thoughts. However, we're going to be talking about why that actually is good for you. So they also talk about this study where 95% of people that participated in the study also did leisure activities, while only like 17% of people spent time relaxing and thinking. So basically being bored. So very few people do this on a regular basis. So you might be asking yourself, why don't we, experience boredom more often? And I think you already know the answer to that, where it's often in your pocket and you pull it out from time to time to check what's happening. You check your email, you check your messages, and it just doesn't allow you time to yourself to just face your thoughts, just think about life and wrestle with the big questions in life. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your the time that you have? And so basically what's at stake is, one of the big things is your creativity, because what they found is that when you let your mind wander, you tend to be more creative. And they did this study where basically they gave them phone books, and one group was reading phone books and another had a less boring task. And then they tested, what they would do with a cup. And basically the people that were reading the phone book, super exciting stuff, had more creative ideas of how to use a cup. So the moral of the story is, if you want to be creative, read phone books. Phone books are the key to creativity. Otherwise, just sit with your thoughts and be bored. Boredom is good. Not only that, but it helps you wrestle with what might not be right in your life right now, because all of a sudden, that's why we get antsy. When you feel bored, you're all of a sudden I don't like being bored right now. I'm going to fill this time with something that's going to, at least stimulate my brain and keep me from thinking about what might be wrong in my life. Nobody likes to be told what's wrong. And the fascinating thing is often you have the answers. You have like internally, you have like, I guess, this internal conscious, your Jiminy Cricket in your life. The little cricket can tell you, what you should be doing in your life. And so perhaps you need to listen to your little cricket a little bit more and be bored. And that's a good thing. The other thing that they found is basically boredom can help you move towards action. It seems contradictory because boredom seems to be the opposite of action. However, allowing yourself to just sit in boredom allows you to realize maybe there's areas of your life that you should be spending more time, more energy towards important things versus like maybe you're wasting a lot of your time. Maybe you're spending it on things that are just filling the gaps in your life. And you could be doing something a lot more meaningful, a lot more fruitful, and move towards things that'll actually be fulfilling. So it just helps you like ponder the big questions in life. And the other interesting thing that they found is that like you think about helping others, like you think about maybe being more generous by being bored, because it allows you to think about other things than the next thing that you have to get to, the next thing that you have to do. So I think it's very helpful to understand the importance of boredom and how it might actually help you help others. And there's countless studies on the importance of volunteering and doing good for others. So, I mean, long and short of it is think about helping others, by being bored. The other interesting thing is that they found that being bored often helps with autobiographical, basically planning out your autobiography, planning out like those big moves in your life. It's good for goal setting. It's for figuring out what you should be doing with your life. So perhaps if you're struggling with understanding what's important in your life or what you want to be doing, spend more time in silence, spend more time just with your thoughts, perhaps pick up a phone book. It's a great soothing experience, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of like what I wanted to dive into, like why boredom could be good for you, and why you might consider boredom if you want to be more creative, if you feel like you want to make a change in your life, perhaps spending, let's say, set aside, make it small at first, maybe 5 minutes where you just do nothing and just sit with your thoughts. And then maybe afterwards you can jot down whatever came to mind. Or maybe you build up to 30 minutes, find 30 minutes where you can just think and contemplate the big questions in life. It can do you good. So this kind of leads us to ask, like, what's filling our time? Because a lot of times, many people, their default reaction to people asking, like, how are you doing? It's like, I'm busy. I've got a lot on my plate. But one of the fascinating things, and this is where we're going to dive into Joshua Becker's blog post on the difference between busy and non-busy people. And I just kind of glanced through this, but I thought the list of how he defines unbusy people was very fascinating and I think true. So I wanted to share that with you. I'll leave a link to both the video that we talked about and then also this blog post in the description if you want to look into it further. So, we all experience stress in our lives at some point or another, but sometimes that could be self-induced. Perhaps we're trying to do too much. And this is where being a minimalist is super important, because minimalism helps you define what's important in your life and helps you eliminate the stress, eliminate the surplus. I mean, not to say that minimalist people never get stressed, but it helps to define what's important and to eliminate the extras. Like I was just thinking about finances. A lot of people own many different credit cards. They own bank accounts. They own, all these different things to, maybe they get an extra reward with this extra credit card, but is it actually adding value to your life? Is it worth the extra maybe $200 that you get per year? Hard to say. Does it, maybe it causes you to spend more? Who knows? I mean, it could be beneficial. I'm not saying that all of these things are bad, but what would your life look like if you reduce the number of things that you're committed to, the number of things that you have to maintain, the number of bank accounts that you have, like the simplicity, kiss it, keep it simple, stupid. That kind of mentality is helpful sometimes. It's like reduce the number of steps, reduce the excess that doesn't help you achieve your goals. And so this is some of the things that Joshua lists as the core elements of what an unbusy life looks like. So unbusy people know their purpose, like they're defining how they live their life. They're not letting, society, other people just take their time, and they're just like, okay, that's fine. I'll let you take that. It's like they're purpose driven. They know what they want in life. And this leads us to our second point that he makes. Unbusy people are adamant about saying no to things that do not align with their mission. So what are the things in your life that you're saying yes to, but it doesn't align with your overall mission? Have you written out a mission statement? That could be helpful. I've done it before. It's probably been a while since I've revisited it. Maybe this is a good indicator that I should, but just think about, what is your mission in life? What are the things that you're passionate about? And this is something that Joshua Becker talks about in his book, Things That Matter, is that it's kind of like the alignment of your purpose, your passions, and I'm trying to remember. There was like a diagram of 3 circles. I think I have it here, so I might try to find it for you. But like, one of the interesting things is that finding kind of your mission in life can also come from negative things. That I thought that was like one of the very fascinating things, is that it's not always the positive things that can bring you clarity of what's important to you. It can also be the negative things. Maybe there was something that happened to you in life that was negative, and you want to be a force of good. You want to be the one that makes a difference in someone's life versus like just continuing or allowing these things to happen. So I found it. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. But let me see if I can find this for you. It was very helpful to me. I think I even might have mentioned it in a podcast episode prior. So, but it's so good. I'll mention it again. Here we go. So you have the top 3 activities that, so you have your passions, your abilities, and areas to serve others. So once you can align all of these and you find the intersection of your passions, abilities, and areas to serve others, you'll have a lot more clarity in how your mission in life, and kind of figure out like what excites you, what like causes you to get like really worked up, passionate about it. This podcast is something that I'm super passionate about, just sharing tools and tactics to improve your life, that kind of stuff. So yeah, figure out your mission in life so that you can make better decisions. Number 3, unbusy people know they have choice in life. So, again, it's like you have an autonomy. You have the ability to make decisions, and you have the ability to not just let things happen to you. You can be a force to move things in the right direction. One of the things that I did growing up was I wanted to start a boys club, and I could have just said, "Oh, look, there's no boys clubs around that I can get involved with." I was like, "No, I'm going to be the one that makes this. I just wanted to get a group of friends together and, share in things that we all enjoy, play sports and all that good stuff. So maybe that's something that you do, is like you find something that you're passionate about. Maybe you look to see if there's something already there. If there's not, maybe you're the one to create it. If that's something that you're passionate about and it aligns with your areas to serve others and your abilities, think about that. Number 4, unbusy people say no to almost everything. So what are you saying yes to that you should actually be saying no to? That's a good clarifying thing for you to for you to do, is not to just say yes blindly. I've seen it happen to people where they just say yes, and where they, maybe they're trying to do something good, but like they end up reaping the repercussions of that because all of a sudden it's impacting their family life, which is more important to them than this side project that they took on just to help somebody. So it's important to, have that definition of what's your mission and what aligns with that and what doesn't, because that will help you have more clarity in life and move further. And number 5, unbusy people don't get distracted by unfulfilling pursuits. Again, it's like you're a minimalist. You're going to just like remove the things that are unfulfilling pursuits. Whether that's, you're involved with something just because that's what you've always done. You're involved with something because like you've started it because a friend asked you and you're just doing it. But maybe it's time to reevaluate and just say, hey, thank you so much for inviting me to do this. However, I'm realizing right now in my life, I need to make a different decision right now. And it's for the best for those around me. I need to make this decision. And even if it's tough, it could be the catalyst that you need right now to move towards something that's more important. And then number 6, unbusy people value the significance of rest. And this kind of ties back into our boredom feature, where it's a good thing to be bored. And sometimes, just to rest, the importance of rest is like super important. I mean, I feel like I need to do a video on just sleep, the importance of sleep, and even naps are super important. So maybe after watching this, if you're in the afternoon, take a nap. It'll do you good. And it's important to take a step back from your busy life and to evaluate how things are going, where things could be going, and make sure that you're spending your time well, but also giving yourself the rest that you need so that you can do more later. Because I've experienced this actually recently, where I get a lot done in the day. Like I'm like checking off all these boxes, but at the end of the day, like I just feel so drained. Like I'm just like I just booked it. Whereas like other times where I set like a definition to the day, where it's like I'm gonna stop working at this time. I'm gonna set aside a time where I do something for leisure. Haven't yet done much with the boredom factor, but after hearing the good things about boredom, I'm tempted to try it out more, and maybe I can report back to all the wonderful things that happened while I was bored. So hopefully after this episode, you'll realize that you should be unbusy and bored with your life, at least at some points. So what will you do with the rest of your day? I hope you can find time to sit quietly without your phone, without distractions, and just let your mind wander. Maybe pick up a book. Actually, pick up a phone book. That's even better, because that's like the super boring thing. And supposedly it sparks creativity. So my encouragement to you is pick up a phone book, maybe, experiment with boring things that you can do. And I hope that it bears fruit in your creativity and writing the biography of your life. And so that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to be part of the Messy Fam, I encourage you to rate, review, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a review there. I'd love to read it. And till next time, my friends, stay messy.